Good afternoon. This is the devotional for 5/27. I'm recording it early because I'm going to be doing some traveling, but it should post on Facebook on the 27th if I do it right. Also, if you have if you subscribed to my YouTube channel, then you're probably seeing this early. I noticed I got 10 subscribers, so woo! Look at me, I'm going viral. But anyway. I want to talk to you this week about 7 ways to bless others during a worldwide crisis. I want to start by reading you a story. A crisis can bring out the best in people, or it can bring out the worst. We've all seen examples of the worst. And this is from a devotion. The guy that was writing this devotion said that a friend of his was in an international airport trying to get home on the very day the borders were closed in Europe from COVID-19. He saw a lot of people at their worst. There was wall-to-wall people jockeying for position, the customers screaming at the top of their lungs, people cutting in line, trampling those who were too slow, weak, or encumbered to keep up. He saw a military mom traveling by herself with a kid strapped to her back and 4 other young ones in tow. And she just kept crying, "Why is everybody cutting in front of me?" She cried in desperation, gave way to despair, but no one heard or cared. His friend said, "I can't fix the rest of this mess, but I can help her." So he did. A foot taller than everybody else around, he used his booming baritone voice to get their attention. "Hey everybody, this woman has 5 children and she's going to miss her flight if we don't help her out. Could you please step aside and let her through?" There was a long, awkward pause and nobody moved. And he screamed, "Please." So slowly the wave of people parted and the young family finally inched forward. But there was one holdout, a short man in a medical mask who had cut in front of everyone, wouldn't budge. And he said, "Come on, man, it'll be good for your soul." Reluctantly, but with a slight grin forming under his face mask, the man moved to the side and the woman walked to the front of the line with all her kids trailing behind. Everybody started applauding abruptly when this flash of kindness in a sea of selfish humanity. The mother made it on her flight that she would otherwise would have missed. With tears in her eyes, she mouthed, "Thank you to my friend." We wouldn't be able to fix all the messes of the crisis has created in the world, but we can help fix someone's mess, maybe several someone's. They may seem to be hard to do, especially when physical contact isn't possible, but there's always a way. Here's 7 ways that we can help others during the crisis. Number 1, you can ask more. A recent poll shows that more than 1 in 4 people aged 50 to 80 have social contact once a week or less with family members that they don't live with, or friends or neighbors. The reality is heartbreaking, and social distancing measures have eliminated the only human contact that many of these isolated individuals have. Who needs you to dig deeper and see how they really are? Who is alone and needs someone to carry them through this solitary time? Who has a need? I can tell you that we have several shut-ins at Castlewood at Fort Gibson Church. Right next to our next door, Miss King. We have Joanne. We have a couple of people like that. There's people in nursing homes. Ask yourself these questions. Make a list of people who would benefit from just hearing your voice, and set reminders to call or FaceTime them regularly. Think of obvious family members who are elderly, but then think of others, especially those who live alone. Ask God to put someone on your heart that doesn't have anyone checking on them throughout the week. Regularly ask if they're okay. Be the person who makes a difference in them. We have Doris Hand that's at Fort Gibson. She lives alone, and that's somebody we can check on. We have some widows that have lost their husbands, or husbands that's lost their wives, and we can check on them if they don't have any family. Galatians 6:2 says, "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." Number 2 is to send more. There are 35.7 million Americans living alone in the United States. It may seem simple, but sending more texts and online messages to people who are isolated in this crisis. Send homemade cards, send words of encouragement and scriptures, send virtual flowers and funny memes and inspiring articles. Send some snail mail. Send a takeout meal, send a photo album or a jigsaw puzzle or a family photo. It only takes a few minutes to send something thoughtful, and yet I often forget to do it. One of the things that I've been doing is I've been writing letters to my wife where she's been in New York. Not emails, not texts. We're doing that. We're doing the WhatsApp. But I've also been writing handwritten letters. I remember my grandmother talking about how in World War II that my grandfather really enjoyed getting letters in Germany from her and the 4 boys, because the girls weren't born yet. My grandfather was a hard man, but he really enjoyed getting those letters. Some of the ladies have sent care packages up to my wife, and I just think that's just amazing. But we have people right around here that would benefit from those things. There's something about a handwritten letter. If you haven't done that, if you wasn't taught to write in cursive, don't start now, print it. But there's something about sending a card or a text or something. Hebrews 6:10 says, God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love that you have shown him as you have helped his people and continue to help them. I want to remind you about something. Everybody doesn't have Facebook. The reason that I do these things on YouTube is because, honestly, we have 2 members of our church at St. Paul, and you'd be surprised who they are. They do not do Facebook. They do not do social media in any fashion. They don't. 3. I'm sorry. There's 3. So when I get done with the Sunday morning service and after the YouTube video uploads, I send a text to those 3 people. Glenna also sends the messages out, the YouTube messages out by email for people who don't have Facebook. So don't assume that everybody has social media. Some people are very against it, and I can understand because of the pitfalls of it. So those people really need an extra touch because they don't have these connections that we have on, Facebook Messenger, or, reading each other's lives or whatever. Number 3 is give more. Most of us are tightening purse strings to get through the crisis, but God might impress upon us to give more financially. Local churches are operating large ministry outreaches, organizing food drives, and helping everyday people hurt by the crisis. This takes funds. Giving to those efforts can help you reach people who you can't reach physically right now. Here's a prime example of what a local church can do. There's a church in Birmingham, Alabama that recently had to let all their employees go. Well, this company did, and they couldn't afford to pay him. He was trying to operate a curbside service with his wife. Someone broke into the restaurant, shattered the front door, and stole the register. The cost of the repair damage was out of reach. As you can imagine, the restaurant owner was devastated. The crime was a huge insult on already a massive injury. But shortly after posting the news on social media, Church of the Highlands, which is my buddy's church, Chris Hodge, heard of the need and wrote Lewis a check to replace everything. They drove over here. We got the estimates for the door and the cash drawer, and they just wrote a check for us to cover the expenses. And it was a little overwhelming to share. If you want to look at an online church, Church of the Highlands, Chris Hodge is the pastor there, and he is the most non-imposing young man. He was in class with me, and he actually taught at Southwestern Christian University. He's a great teacher. They paid $8.2 million for the land in Birmingham and paid cash for it. Their church did. They built the thing debt-free. He has church in prison. He has satellite churches, and he sits on a stool and preaches, but he is like one of the most anointed people. So I would just tell you that I would commend Chris Hodge to you. And Church of the Highlands, you can find them. Just put Church of the Highlands Birmingham. They're huge. Galatians 6:2 says, carry each other's burdens, and this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. Number 4, leave more. When we see the empty toilet paper aisle and other sections of the store following suit, supply chains are being disrupted, and COVID-19 crisis as workers who grow and harvest and manufacture, distribute and transport and receive our grocery items meet unexpected challenges. How can we help? From now on, and I know we're towards the end of this, don't buy what you don't need. My mother could not find a roll of toilet paper in Princeton, West Virginia. She went to, and my mom's an at-risk person. She's on 30-some different medications. She has COPD. She's had brain strokes. My mom has all kinds of medical problems. She went to Walmart. She went to Rose's. She went to Kroger's. She went to Save-A-Lot. She went to Grant's. Could not find a roll of toilet paper anywhere. I went to Lebanon, to Walmart, bought her a pack of toilet paper, and had to drive it up to Princeton and leave it on her porch a few weeks back. If you read Elijah, in 1 Kings 17, God sends Elijah to a poor widow to find some food. The Lord could have sent the servant to someone who had more, but he didn't. He sent Elijah to a woman who had nothing. And surely the Lord our God lives, she told the prophet. I don't have any bread, only a handful of flour in a jar and olive oil in a jug. I am gathering a few sticks to take home to make a meal for myself and my son, that they may eat it and die. Elijah did something bold right there. He tells the woman not to fear and encourages her to make him some bread first. That is an audacious request, one that a modern mindset would find reprehensible, but the woman exercises faith. The scripture says she went away and did as Elijah told her. So there was food every day for Elijah and the woman and her family, for the jar of flour was not used up and the jug of oil did not go dry. As Christians, we have a supply chain that the world cannot disrupt. Trust that as you look out for your neighbor, God will look out for you. Philippians 4:19 says, and my God will meet all your needs according to his riches and glory. We don't have to hoard up things as Christians. I mean, I'm not saying that, luckily I had found a great deal on toilet paper, this huge pack of the kind that my wife likes, and I had bought it right before the COVID-19 thing. I could have put that on eBay and tripled my money, but I didn't. That's price gouging. That's against the law. And I just wouldn't do that anyway. It's just unethical. It's weird. But, I buy things up in bulk. I like to go to the dollar store on Saturdays because if you spend $25, you get $5 off. So if I need to buy Cascade, I need to buy toilet paper, I need to buy Tide, whatever, I get on DG coupons. It's kind of like a little challenge for me. I enjoy that. So there's nothing wrong with that. But literally, like being those guys from North Carolina or whatever that went and bought everything of hand sanitizer they could find, it was price gouging, it was turning around selling it back to people for 3 times its worth. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. And I understand you got to take care of your family, but you got to look out for your neighbor too. I mean, who in the world needs, if you're a family of 2, like me and my wife, who needs 120 rolls of toilet paper? I mean, I'm just going to say to you, if you need that much toilet paper in a month's time, you probably need to go see a doctor. It's probably a problem. So just be mindful to leave more for other people. Number 5, think more. We're coming into contact with the outside world much these days, but on rare venues into the wild. Thank those who are working in heavily trafficked areas. Thank the grocery store workers and the fast food cashier. Thank people who are blessing you through their online services. Thank the mail carrier and the delivery workers. Thank the company who suspended your bill. You don't have to go get a sticker right now if your sticker's dead. They can't pull you over for it. The governor said so. You can thank him for it. My sticker's right now dead on my motorcycle, and I just can't get it out to get it done, and I won't get in trouble for riding it. That's pretty awesome. One great way to send a thank you is by providing a meal for hardworking healthcare workers through charities like Operation Food Fight in New York City and Feed the Fight in Washington, D.C. Such charities serve a dual purpose of supporting a struggling restaurant community while giving a hearty thank you to medical professionals who are pulling long, hard hours. I love the fact that my wife has money. She can order DoorDash or whatever. She's in New York City. She can just hit a button and food comes to her hotel. I cannot wait to see how that works because, we don't get that here in St. Paul and Castlewood. But anyway, my wife has been fed by local restaurants every shift. FD&Y, which is Fire Department New York, who is sets the standard for all firefighters. They're the fire gods. We all go, oh, when we see what they do. They're just awesome. They showed up with aerials and rescue trucks and stuff and brought food to the hospital my wife's working at. Not one time. I posted on Facebook 5 or 6 times. And, they was just showing them how much they thank the nurses. And I'm just going to tell you something. Doctors are awesome. They're great. Other healthcare professionals are awesome. They're great. But nurses are the bomb. They're the backbone of the hospital. If you don't have no nurses, you ain't got nothing. I'm just saying. That's like, just throwing it out there. That is just a blessing. So thank more. We can't thank our heroic medical workers in person right now, but we can express our gratitude with a delicious meal while funding a desperate food service industry. That is a major win-win. Yeah, anybody that knows anything about St. Paul knows that Greg and Jennifer run the brewery and the cidery. Okay, they're part of our church. Why not? And I'm gonna say this. Let me put Castlewood out there, right there. See Castlewood Fire and Rescue. Why don't somebody go down to the brewery or the cidery and order a bunch of food and bring it up to the guys? Not me, not while I'm on shift. Other guys and ladies, and bring it up here and give it to them and thank them for it. There's why don't you go down to the cidery and order some food and take it up to Norton Community Hospital and give it to the ER nurses and just say thank you. That helps on both ends. There is a multitude of ways that we can do that. Somebody, I don't know who it was, somebody donated enough money to Jennifer and Greg, to the brewery, to give each first responder in this area a $17 gift card. So I figured that out at one point. I can't remember now what it was, but it was like $300 or $400. So everybody at Castlewood and everybody at St. Paul Fire Department got a $17 gift card from the brewery. That was awful nice. To be able to get a meal that we're not cooking or whatever we didn't pay for. And somebody out there, and I don't even know who it is, did that as an appreciation for first responders. We need to be thankful for these people that's out here taking care of us. So, all right. Number 6, do more. Sometimes in a crisis like COVID-19, we have the opportunity to go the extra mile. Here's a story that I really, really like. And this guy's name was Justin Bradshaw. And he was he's a FedEx delivery man. And he had an opportunity to, when he was taking a package to a place in Florida, Bradshaw encountered a message on the door which said, "Stop. Someone in this house has an autoimmune disorder. Please leave the package on the doorstep." So Justin returned to his truck, retrieved a sanitizing wipe, and then he proceeded to carefully clean the package that he left on the doorstep with a message. "I sanitized your box once I saw the note on the door. Stay safe." The 11-year-old daughter has type 1 diabetes and lives inside the house. She described the FedEx workers' act of kindness as an amazing moment that gave her hope. Bradshaw responded, "I feel like we should all do something to better the situation for somebody else right now." This man's act was so small, but it made such a huge impact on this 11-year-old. If you find yourself in a position to do more during the crisis, seize the moment. Matthew 5:41 says, "And whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him too." So that's a way that we can bless others. That's 7 ways, and hope that helps you. We are on the backside, I hope, of this COVID-19 crisis. The governor's opening, lessening restrictions on us. Hopefully we will be back at worship. I know other churches, not United Methodist churches, but other churches has opened worship this past Sunday. I think that's awesome. Hopefully we will be able to do the same thing in the coming weeks. But we're not through it yet. And so as we go through this crisis together, just be a blessing to others, because that's what Christians do. Amen.